Okay. We're entering the impact crater. Before we proceed, I do need... because this is what I was after. Okay. Now, it is okay to press forward a little bit instead of going back to your ship. Because right over here, we have a save station. So after the Meta Ridley battle, you do have a way to fully heal. And I believe on the other side... no, somewhere down here is a missile restore station. Now, I also think there is something down here. No? Okay. Forward. There is something down here that I have to scan inside the impact crater. Limited data. Those things. New creature. Lumigek. Phazon-charged reptiles. Native of Talon 4, the Lumigeks travel in swarms to increase their odds of survival. They absorb and radiate Phazon energy, making these swarms a threat. So they just ran into the thick Phazon. All of these things are running into the Phazon. And I think even my core thing, limited data on unknown material available. Material is highly radioactive. You will take damage from direct contact. Mutagenic qualities of at least 86% greater than Phazon. Unshielded bioforms below index level P will suffer fatality within moments. So that's saying be careful about where you're going, because if you are not careful, you are going to die down here. That is the last scan, I believe, of all the core enemies. The last things to scan should be the final boss. Yep. This will be the first time I actually 100% the entire game. Logbook and items. So in here, I'm sure they will... yeah, you'll be able to see fusion Metroids. Be careful down here because fusion... come on. Turn around. There we go. I think you can go slow and steady, but I also think that if you go too slow, that more... Metroids will just spawn. That there is an unlimited number of Metroids that will come after you down here. Power beam and plasma beam. Be prepared to have a lot of things charging at you. Particularly in this underground area. Now, I don't know what Nintendo's fixation on bones are. Like, almost every material down here is very organic. And metally, not metally, bony, with, I suspect a Metroid pushed me off. Yeah. So one thing that I could do to defend myself is just... because you will not use power bombs in the final battle. Telling you that right now, you do not have to worry about the use of power bombs in the last battle. You won't ever use them. They're primarily used in this area to get rid of Metroids faster so that you can be on your merry way faster. Next, we have this way. Let's go here. This is your last opportunity to scan a missile station if you haven't already scanned a missile station. And my moderator is missing tonight's stream. Work has unfortunately called him in. Blasted work. What is happening in there? Interesting. It's no problem. He can't make it to everything, and I don't expect him to. I had this very strong conversation with him about expectation of role and duty, and I'd rather him be at work doing his job than be my moderator where I can't pay him. I like him on so that if I needed feedback on stuff, or if I needed someone to just casually talk to people, that it can happen. Okay, so we are in the next room. We have metal tracks, which are more like organic spines than metal tracks. So just be aware of that. And I'm sorry about the camera angles you're going to be experiencing. Okay, we're just going through. Should have just done that. And here we are. This thing is a Metroid. In fact, this thing is called Metroid Prime. I want to get my scan visor on the ready for when I go down this hole chasing after this thing. New creature. Metroid Prime, highly evolved phazon-producing life form. The aberration known as Metroid Prime is the source of phazon, making it immensely powerful. A genetic flaw makes it susceptible to certain weapons for brief periods. Only its head is truly vulnerable. Other attacks are a nuisance. Offensively, Metroid Prime has a number of natural and mechanical weapons at its disposal. These include ultra-frigid breath, multi-missile, snare beams, and particle wave projectors. Its massive strength and barbed carapace makes it lethal in melee combat. Recommend maximum firepower when engaging this enemy. So here we are. So it is purple. You can imagine that we need the power of purple. We need the power of grapes. Now, what's really fortunate and something that I like is that you can use your ultra weapon against this thing. So we use super missiles and the wave beams wave buster. And we're already done phase 1. Now we're going down to phase 2. We're dealing with ice. I think it's already done with ice. Get into a ball as soon as you're done a battle round. Oh, never mind. I'm not. Yes, I am done with the ice. Wave beam. Wave buster again. Get back into the ball. Get into the trench. I think it's going back to power beam now. And I think it's going into phase 3. I think there are 4 phases of this form. Does not matter when you scan it in this form, as long as if you get that scan, then you'll be good. We're on... I've never ever successfully got out of that move. I just used my knowledge of other Metroid games. So these orbs are your equipment refueling. So we've knocked it down again. Power beam. Launch the power beam. Get into the trench. Up we go. Ice. If ice hits, this ice beam hits you, it does freeze you, so just be aware of that, particularly for other attacks. Okay, now I think it's jumping to plasma. For plasma beam, you almost have to be really close for flamethrower to have real working effects. But I'd still go for it. Now I think that's the last round, unless there is one more. There is. So wave again. Oh. Oh, this time he's doing all his moves. He's gonna get very volatile. He's gonna switch brands mid-fight. The final boss, Samus the Exterminator versus Spider. Samus the Exterminator versus Metroid. I just realized I dropped a power bomb there. Get off of plasma. I'm okay with that one. This is usually... It has... Oh. I'm okay with Wave Buster. Wave Buster is a bit more accurate than... the flamethrower has been. Now he's gonna go to still wave, but he's using an ice attack. We've now depleted our missiles, so from here on out we're attacking with just our beam strikes. Oh, if he hits you with the wave beam, you can't target him. How interesting. and thematic. He is a bit faster. Okay, I think one more of these stun things will defeat Metroid Prime Phase 1. Ice Beam. Plasma Beam. There we go. So he falls down the final pit. Oh, and it's not an auto circuit thing. Okay. Let's go down this final hole. And I'll talk about what it is that we're in after this final battle. Because this is also pretty interesting, especially if you know the full lore of this game. So we have this gelatinous head thing. That is Metroid Prime's true form. And where Metroid Prime's body utilized all of the different beams, this guy will use all the different visors. Morphology, Metroid Prime, the core essence of Metroid Prime. Scans indicate that the phazon energy form of Metroid Prime is invulnerable to all conventional weapons. Only attacks from a phazon-fused arm cannon will damage it. It generates pools of phazon when it attacks. Use these to fuel your suit's phazon weapon system. The entity can also spawn Metroids to assist in its battle, rendering itself invisible when it does. So that's basically saying, get to the power beam. Get to the combat beam. Also, if you do have any so now it's switching. Let's start with thermal. X-ray. And you just hold the attack button until you no longer have any phazon to work with. And then you just wait until it changes its visual appearance again. Usually. Thermal? Yes. And then you just have at it. You're primarily on defense and evasion until you get the little pool spawns. Then you're on the attack. I think the next visual cue will be spectrum vision or combat visor. Because he'll no longer be in the visual cue of standard. And here we go. A lot of damage to do. Once again on the defense. The core is less difficult than the body. I will say that. But the cinematic of this battle, how you're using its own power against it, is very reminiscent of classical Metroid titles, like Super Metroid, where you use Mother Brain's or the Metroid's own power to defeat Mother Brain with the Hyper Beam. Come on. Give me the next. I think he's going back X-ray. I am correct. It is possible that you lose out completely on the attack round, because you, one, lose out on attacking, the Metroids get in the way, but I think we just have to get and live until we're in the thermal, which I think is this time. It's almost dead. So its final phase. This is its final phase, but the phase in which I kill it is going to be its normal spectrum appearance. Let's drop a power bomb. And there we go. Metroid Prime has been defeated. Now, WJT, you might want to either show Swag the ending here beyond this scene, because there is something important that Swag won't see without having 100%. But Metroid Prime is about to explode! Crater collapse imminent. Evacuate immediately. You don't have to worry about evacuating, it's an auto sequence. Yeah, pick up my controller so that it's not vibrating all across my table. Okay, so while this is clearing up, I'm gonna talk at the credits actually about the thing about the impact crater. So this is the first 3D view of Samus. She does not look at all like Samus, but I think the primary reason why she doesn't look like a Samus is because of the muted colors and how her body looks dark, or her skin and her hair look darker due to natural lighting of the environment, instead of really cartooning and exaggerating the colors of her appearance. And that's Metroid Prime 1. So, some things to talk about. First and foremost, let me talk about the impact crater. In Metroid Prime 3, we discover that there are these things called Leviathans and Seeds that are crashing onto planets. And what we just were in the impact crater, was a Leviathan Seed that crash landed and infected Talon 4. It's why the environment is so organic compared to the rest of the game, because it's the first look at the inside of those seeds, long before they even decided this was going to be what we were going to do. So it's gonna appear very different from other titles. Even Metroid Prime 2 takes this Leviathan Seed concept and changes how it is that the players see and view these seeds. Metroid Prime 3 does change how the game plays. I suspect you don't play it not because it plays far differently from a Metroid game. And it's possible that it's because the direction of Metroid Prime 3 went through various changes. It was definitely planned to be a motion control game. But what they did was they took this concept of non-linear gameplay of a Metroidvania, and because they were trying to tell a very specific story, made it quite linear in design. Whereas in this game, you can go wherever you want, but you're restricted by your own equipment. Metroid Prime 3 does not let you go exploring based on your own limited equipment. It makes you go exploring until the person says, yeah, you're done exploring. You need to go this way. I suspect you're saying, I think it would be better. Completely okay. Let's see what you have to say about Metroid Prime 3 or Metroid Prime. Talk about the series as a whole, because that's what we're here to discuss now during credit time. As we're near the end, because now we're just in the translations. All rights, including the copyrights of game, scenario, music, and program reserved by Nintendo. Here is the 100% game completion screen. This is what Swag will miss out on because he's not getting all the items. You only need to 100% collect items to get that. Percentage complete. I'm just gonna move down. 100% took us 9 hours and 19 minutes. And then we got hyper mode. So hyper mode difficulty is the hardest mode. You have to complete one version of the game to 100% completion to unlock hyper mode. And with that, here we are. The bubbling remains of Metroid Prime. And that will be Dark Samus. Choosing to save now will finish the game of Metroid Prime. When you select your save file, it will start a new game. Do you want to save? I am going to say yes.